Once again, it's on. It's time for Boss Toss Loss 2026. Let's do it.
This is the Weekend Tailgate. Brought to you by Golden's Cast Iron. C-Dub. Joe. Be Will. By G. You are now listening to
Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by our friends at Golden's Cast Iron, guys. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. Hit them up. Summertime is here. You want to be outside with your family, staying cool around the grill, or just staying fed. They can help you do both there. Sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. The season is approaching, which means our game day experience is approaching, and you want to be a member for this. Trust me, we've got a great game day experience. A lot of it is member only. You don't want to miss out on the action there. Our members have a great time on game day, and when YouTube is not hating on us, sometimes we watch the game with you, and that means you can watch me crash all the way out watching your Auburn Tigers when we are not in the press box. So sign up as a patron so you can get in on that action, guys. Do us a favor, sign up on a podcast, every single podcast platform. We are there bringing you lots of great audio only content. The Auburn Express, Up-Tempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel. Lots of good stuff there for you guys. So if you want to listen to us on the go, at the gym, maybe on the way to work or school, this is a better way to do that. Sometimes YouTube is not always car friendly, but podcast certainly is. So sign up on podcast. Before we get into today's show, don't forget to visit us on the web at thewarreport.com, where you'll find our merch store as well as all our written work. That's right. We write too. And if you like reading your Auburn sports news, well, it's right there at thewarreport.com for you, free of charge. This is a great way to support the work that we're doing.
All right, let's get into today's conversation. Mike G, our annual Boss Toss Loss, man. We came up with this segment. I think this is like our fourth year doing this now.
Yeah.
And it's just our way to be able to go through the schedule and predict what we feel may happen. Like, for those uninitiated, boss means we expect that to be a win for Auburn, and we each do our own boss toss and loss. Boss means we expect a win. Toss means toss up. We're not really sure what the outcome is going to be of this game, but we do think that there is a possibility either team could win. And a loss, we just, hey, as it stands right now, can't see Auburn pulling out the victory in this game. We're going to try to be as objective as possible. We have pre-done these, so we're not coming up with these on the fly. But Boss Toss and Loss 2026, time to get into it. You ready to do this, man?
I am. Before we start, can I explain something about this?
Yeah.
Because every year someone sees our Boss Toss and Loss and says, "You guys think Auburn's going 10-2 or 11-1?" And it's like, no. I want people to understand the toss column.
Yeah.
Those are games Auburn could win or lose. We don't expect them to win every game in the toss column.
Correct.
We're just saying that by the time the clock hits triple zeros, this game will have looked competitive.
Correct.
Now, I want to remind people the way last year finished. Ike, you tell me which one of these games from last season, the way it finished, would have been an absolute L.
Yeah, they were all toss-ups.
They were all toss-ups.
The wins were solid wins. Baylor, Ball State. Arkansas really kind of is close to that toss category, and then Mercer, but everything else was a toss-up game.
Okay. Now, does that mean that we think Auburn could have potentially gone 12-0 through the regular season? No.
Right.
But it does mean that they had a chance to win every single one of those games. There was a circumstance under which they could have won especially those 4 in the beginning where they went on the 4-game losing streak. So I just want to make that distinction clear before we start this, because someone's going to say, oh, my God, these toss-up games, you think they could win them all. No, we don't expect for them to win them all.
And it does not mean that we think that they will lose them all either. People
right, yes.
Say, oh, well, you only have definite wins here, so it means you only think Auburn is going to win 5 games, 6 games. No, I think they're going to win more than that. I just don't know which of these toss-up games will get them to that place.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. just want to make sure we set the ground rules on the record before we start this segment, because I'm ready to bug this year.
Okay.
I'm ready to bug this year. All right.
Well, we will start our thing, of course, with the first game of the season. We're going to go game by game from game 1 to game 12. First and foremost, we have Auburn versus the Baylor Bears in Atlanta. Here is Mike and Ike, what we have as our predictions for this game. And it's not on the stage for some reason. Boom, there it is.
Boss.
Both myself and Mike G feel like Auburn should get the dub versus the Baylor Bears in game 1.
Yes, boss.
All right.
Now, I called this a boss last year and got ridiculed for saying that I thought Auburn would put 38 on them. How many did they put on Baylor last year, Ike?
38.
38-21 is what I called the game. The final score was 38-24. They snuck in an extra field goal unbeknownst to me. However, I think that this game has a chance to be a worse beatdown than last year. They couldn't stop Jackson Arnold. They have no chance in hell of stopping Byron Brown.
They're going to have to do a lot different defensively in the way in which they approach that game if they have any prayer, because I think, again, the big difference for me is going to be they last year lucked into a dominant run game in that one. They weren't going in with that as a plan. This year, that's going to be the plan. So Baylor's going to have to show they can actually stop the run, which may make it really interesting because I think that Baylor's weakness this year is going to be their secondary. And so if Auburn is able to establish the run, that pass game could actually go crazy this year.
Exactly. You don't need Cam Coleman to go crazy in this one. You didn't need him last year. He made one big catch for Jackson Arnold on a throw across the middle that was kind of underthrown, and Cam went up and high pointed it. But just make the routine catches versus Baylor. They're terrible. They're awful. Dave Aranda will be on the early season firing watch, bro. Y'all know I covered the Big 12. I told everybody in UCF land, hey, listen, watch out for Dave Aranda to get fired midseason. Once the wheels start to come off the wagon there, and they bounced back nicely from the Auburn game by beating SMU the very next week. Hell, they beat UCF 30-3. But I don't know, man. I think it's done there in Baylor. They're still living off the ghost of RG3 or something there. This is a boss. I want to see comment section. I need you during this one. I need y'all to be on the record here. What do you guys think about this Baylor game?
I've seen there's a couple of different things. Let's see. They're all over the place. Jake Paget says Baylor is still a toss for me. I expect a 4-quarter shootout again. Patrick says Baylor should be a boss. Daniel Denny, of course, says Baylor is a toss. I actually expected him to say loss.
Oh, so, Jake Paget.
Maybe it's a typo.
First of all, they never came close to stopping Auburn from doing anything offensively in that game last year. And they don't have Sawyer Robertson this year. They don't have Bryson Washington. They don't have Michael Trigg. Guys, that offense is gone. DJ Lagway is not as polished. Sawyer Robertson was one of the best passers in the country the last 2 years. DJ Lagway is not. He went from the SEC to the Big 12.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because,
Jake,
of course,
come
listen,
on,
DJ Lagway is super talented. I just don't know that they have enough around him for him to just take over a game and get a dub for them.
Here's what.
Another boss here.
Let
you
me
can
tell
keep talking. I'm just going to throw these up here on the screen.
Right, yeah. It did not take a fourth quarter kickoff return to knock them out last year. Because Auburn was never stopped in that game. They had zero chance of stopping Auburn defensively. None. You ran for 300 yards on the ground. Sawyer Robertson, we gave Sawyer Robertson his due before and after that game, by the way.
For sure. Yeah, he was the guy who I was most worried about, and he lived up to it. He threw all over the place on that game.
Yeah, but that's all they had. So what they had is they had the illusion of being able to keep up with Auburn when they had no chance at all.
Yeah, I expect Auburn's defense to play better this game, and I expect Auburn's offense to play better this game. This one should be a boss.
Yeah, and what Jake is missing is for as much as they did offensively last year to only score 24 points, by the way, they are fundamentally and practically a worse football team. They didn't get better in the offseason. Auburn, I think we could argue, definitely got better at quarterback.
Yes.
You kept your defensive coordinator. You have one of the best defensive players in the country returning. You have a bunch of young guys who should get better, like Elijah Melendez coming back. And you could have one of the best. Watch out for Chas Nimrod in this one. Watch out for Byron Brown to Chas Nimrod. Byron's going to look for Chas early, deep early. If those guys get it going, zero shot. I think Auburn puts up somewhere between 42 and 49 in this one.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah. I'm giving them an extra 4 to 12 points in this one. And I'm leaving the door open for a pick six or something, of that nature on DJ Lagway. But it's just, man, I don't know, dude. I don't see it happening in this one. This would be a very disappointing loss for this is gonna sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but hear me out. This would be the most disappointing early season loss for Auburn. But if you had to lose one due to figuring out who you are, this is the one. Get it out of your system before conference play starts. And because it is game one, I expect a massive jump in this team between game 1 and 2. What's the old adage about the biggest improvement in every season comes between game 1 and game 2? That seems to hold true most years. So, if Auburn is going to score 40 plus in this one, I don't see DJ giving up more than 24 to DJ Lagway at quarterback without Michael Trigg and all them guys, personally. Don't see it.
All right. We shall see. Game 1, we both have boss here for Baylor. Not unsurprising here. All right. Game number 2.
Southern Miss.
I don't think anybody is surprised by this one. We both have that one in the boss category. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've spent much of the offseason breaking down the Southern Miss Eagles and what they could potentially bring to this 2026 college football season. Auburn just win the freaking football game and let's move on.
Yeah, agree.
In the comment section, let us know your thoughts on that game. Exclusive TV with the super chat here says off topic, and we'll come back to the off topic then. So I'll come back on that one. Daniel Denny says, "Get Daniel."
I see you. If you're calling Southern Miss a loss, we just can't take you seriously.
Yeah, I'm just
we can't
not
take
gonna,
you seriously. Yeah,
I'm not
putting
serious football talk. Anymore,
yeah.
Bro.
So yeah,
I was trying to let you participate in the conversation. You're not even being serious.
Yeah, well, we might mute you after that. That's crazy.
Got another boss here. Got a boss there. Exclusive boss. Big Sarge says boss. Another boss there. I mean, listen, I think anybody who's not Daniel and being reasonable will say that should be boss. Though.
Here's the question. The question in this one is, how long do you let your starters ride in this one, Ike? How long do you let your starters ride if you're blowing out Southern Miss? And how much of Tristan Tia should we see in this one, assuming he wins QB2? I want to see Tristan. I want to see Tristan because I want to see what's the backup to Byram.
Right.
Hell, if he plays well enough, he could be your quarterback of next year. He's got eligibility left. Let's see some Tristan Tia, man, and let's see them adapt this offense to what he does well. Because he's not going to be the runner that Byram is. But he's got, he went to Oregon State, man. Like he's played a few games, against high level competition. I would like to say, and you brought him here for a reason. I want to see that this staff is adept at picking star quarterbacks. You don't have your trigger man, the playbook gets smaller. And Freeze talked about this. He wasn't wrong. He felt like there wasn't enough that they did well, so they had to keep shrinking the playbook week after week until you become just a predictable team. Most reasonable people are going boss to start the season.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to game number 3, one with a little bit more intrigue. That is the Florida Gators. First SEC matchup for both teams. First home SEC game. First road for Florida. We are split on this one. I have this as a toss-up. Mike G says boss for Florida in this game. Let's talk about it.
I do have this one as a boss. I understand why people think this is a toss-up. I do. But the questions that they have in Florida are greater than the questions that we have on the Plains. Alex Golesh brought his quarterback. He brought over his system, his receivers. This is in Jordan-Hare. If this were at Florida, I would have this as a toss. In your house, this has to be a boss. In your house, this has to be a boss. Give me a break, man. This is a boss. Florida's got questions. They got too many questions. They have too many questions. I don't know if they're going to have it all sorted by week 3. And when you look at what they have going, one of the things I do like about our schedule is that while I don't think Baylor is going to be formidable, I do believe that Baylor is a better early season test for who you are and what you are than anything Florida will see to start their schedule. Right? This is Florida's schedule. They start with Florida Atlantic and Campbell, both at home, and then they got to go on the road to Jordan-Hare. Auburn has not played Florida, I think, since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 6 years. So these kids know nothing of coming to Jordan-Hare Stadium and trying to get out of there with a dub. Shell shock. Do we have a time on this game? What's the time on this game?
I don't know if there's a definitive
time. Did they put it on our schedule? No, it's not on. It wasn't on this version of the schedule that we produced. But I
think it's a night game.
It's a night game.
It's a night game.
Night game at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah.
I don't think so. John Summerall, a lot of people were amused by his antics at SEC Media Days. I was not. And after hearing from both coaches, I could not be happier that we got the guy we got.
Yeah, I'm still very happy with the decision that Auburn made for Alex Golish.
Yeah, it worked out.
I am less off-put by John Summerall after SEC Media Days, but I was not as like some people love the whole I'd throw this podium thing at you joke that he said it was a joke on social media later. I thought that was a little, you trying to be super intense for no reason type of thing.
There's a time and a place, right? Yeah. He tried to backtrack and call it a joke after the fact. Mistakes happen. It's if you don't know what media days is like, you're running from thing to thing and everybody's calling you. You have to have your phone on during media days because people are coming by your radio row table. I mean, we're our own bosses, but like, we need people in different spots. Hey, where are you? This thing is happening over here. And sometimes things slip through the cracks. For him to embarrass that guy like that on national TV at that, I don't know, man. I think he can do better than that. I'm going to stop short of, making character inferences. But I think Auburn got the right guy. You want to make a joke about it, make it lighthearted. But, if that's his idea of a joke, a lighthearted joke, I'm tired of coaches getting in front of the microphone and embarrassing our school.
Yeah, well,
right. Do you remember?
I have this game as a toss game, though. I feel like this is one of those games that's going to be kind of, we've talked about it. It's one of those pivot points in the season. You need to your point, you need to get this win. But this Florida team, I think, is just as embarrassed in the output that they had last season. A lot of those guys on that defense in particular feel as if they need to atone for a loss that they had to this coaching staff. To me, Auburn needs to behave in the same way the New Mexico Vanderbilt did when they came to Auburn after New Mexico State beat Auburn. And Auburn was feeling embarrassed, and they're like, oh, we're not letting Diego Pavia and those guys come in our house and win 2 years in a row and, puffing our chests out. They ain't doing it at Vanderbilt. And then Vandy came into the crib and won. Auburn needs to be that. They need to say, all right, these Florida players feel like it was sweet because we snuck up on them at USF. No, you getting the same thing again this year.
Yeah, agreed. It's home. It's home. And I think that Auburn is going to be a really tough home team under Alex Golish. They're going to defend home. I'm putting this as a boss in my book. I just feel like Alex Golish may be new to Auburn, and Byron Brown may be new to Auburn, and Chaz Nimrod might be new to Auburn, but those guys aren't new to each other. So doing it here in the orange and blue in front of nearly 90,000 screaming fans is a massively advantage Auburn, I think, with Golish's coach. So the home field advantage is what makes this a boss for me, combined with the fact that you do not have the questions. Like Byron Brown's new to Auburn. He's not new to Alex Golish. So in a lot of ways, He's not like a first-year quarterback here in this system. He is a fourth-year guy versus whoever Florida's going to start.
I agree with that. Definitely has the advantage of not having to start over. All right. Next game on the schedule, game number 4.
Vandy.
I've got this one as a boss, and so does Mike G. There for Vanderbilt versus Auburn at the crib. Mike has them starting 4-0 here. I have 4-0, maybe 3-1 at worst.
Jig is up. Jig is up at Vanderbilt. The jig is up. No more Diego Pavia. I love that they went out and got Jared Curtis, the 5-star freshman QB, but he is just that, a freshman. It seems to be, I cannot find anybody in Vanderbilt space that's going to tell me that Jared Curtis is not going to be the starting quarterback.
It's very likely.
I cannot find anybody predicting the other side of that coin. Clark Lee is a great coach. This is in Jordan-Hare. It's Vanderbilt. This is the year Alex Golish returns sanity to the Auburn verse, and Vanderbilt becomes an automatic dub. Both these teams, according to FanDuel, have a 6.5 over under. 6.5 over under.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going with Auburn for the win in this one. I think 4-0 is the likely start to this season with the combination of Golish and Brown and DJ Durkin solidifies for you on defense. A lot of folks are excited about Xavier Atkins. They should be. But what they really need to watch out for are the guys who are going to emerge alongside Xavier. Defensively, Auburn is going to be tough this season. And I can't reveal my source on this one because they swore me to secrecy. But this could be a defense that is better than 2019.
Listen,
this defense
I'm
will be
high on
better
this
than
defense for a lot of reasons. I'm high on this defense for a lot of reasons. I feel as if this defensive backfield feels like they got a lot of blame last year for how poorly they performed. And I think they were put in some bad situations because the pass rush wasn't where it needed to be. And I think that they have the guys up front that are more ready to be able to play in this system on a consistent basis on the interior. I think they've got a good rotation of guys there. And that linebacker core, man, Robert Woodyard Jr., really great linebacker for Auburn last year. So this has nothing to do with whether I feel like somebody's going to be better or worse than him. I just think another year of Elijah Melendez, Bryce Diaz in this system. We already talked about Xavier Atkins. There's just guys. And that's not, I mean, you got Tootle, the freshman in there. That linebacker room is so good. And I'm not even naming everybody. I'm gonna go through a room by room breakdown for this team. That defense has got a chance to be scary for sure.
It does. It does. Auburn is. It feels like not enough people are talking about how good this defense is, because last year, and I'll reference it again. Look how deep they went into the season before they gave up more than 24 points to anybody. Like 24 to Baylor, 3 to Ball State, 15 to South Alabama, 24 to Oklahoma, 16 to Texas A&M, 20 to Georgia, 23 in overtime to Missouri, 24 to Arkansas, 3 to Kentucky, and you lost. Then Vanderbilt. It was game 10. Game 10 is when you finally broke on defense. But finally the offense stepped up. This was Derek Nix calling the plays here, and it looked a little different. But you got to overtime in this one and lost. Only 17 to Mercer, and then 27 to Alabama. No one ran away from Auburn on the scoreboard.
Right.
If they do I have to think that if Auburn is sustaining drives, and they're going to get some help. My point is they're going to get some help from the offense this year. Not losing time of possession in critical junctures of the game, and particularly in the second half. More possessions on offense, longer possessions on offense equals better defense. It also equals fresher defense in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line. I think Vanderbilt is when people start to realize that this defense is for real. They have a chance to do something really special in the first month of this season. So, because we're doing boss toss and loss, I'm going to make some side quest predictions here. I think it's possible Auburn may not give up more than 14 points to anybody in the first month of the season. I think there's an outside chance nobody scores more than 2 touchdowns on Auburn in that first month of the season. Complete defensive domination by the Tigers at home. Combined with sustained offense. And like they said they're going to run the piss out of the football. If it's working, they're going to chew up clock. And while they're chewing up clock, they're going to chew up your soul. So when the fourth quarter gets here, nothing. You're demoralized from them running the ball down your throat for 3 quarters. The first month of this season could be really special. Now, in October, it could all fall apart. But in September, we've got hope.
I'm looking forward to the hope returning to the Plains.
Yeah.
Right now, Mike G has got Auburn undefeated through the first portion of the season.
Let's go.
Next game after Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and both of us have this as a toss-up game in Knoxville. First road SEC game for the Auburn Tigers. Tennessee potentially starting a true freshman at worst, I guess, and then the other guy, very limited experience.
Yeah.
But I think this is a game that could go either direction. Tough night environment inside of that vaunted 100,000 plus stadium up there. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I want to be clear here. I have been very adamant that I think that Auburn has a chance to start 5-0. And when people project Auburn, and here's what people like Jake Padgett and Daniel Denny miss. All right. You are completely taken by what you think Auburn is and what they have been in the past without analyzing what these other teams are. Every year in the SEC, there's a team that's way better than we expect. Texas A&M had the SEC in a complete vice grip until the end of the season. Couldn't beat Texas, but I thought they were a lock for the SEC championship game. It didn't work out that way. Every year, there is a team in the conference that is way better than we expect them to be. What kills me is there's a subset of Auburn fans that think Auburn can't be that team. So, Josh Heupel, you got to respect what he's done at Tennessee. One of the things I love about Josh Heupel is how he handled the whole Nico situation. He said no to his $4 million demand and then went on to make the college football playoff with the other guy. Give me that. Reset the market. You think you're worth this? No, son. You are not bigger than the program. Now, Alex Golesh is very familiar with Heupel and his system. And I believe that they think they can do what Tennessee does, but better.
Oh, I mean, he 100%. But I think Alex Golesh thinks that he is probably top 5 offensive minds in college football.
In the college football,
now, I don't know that he's ever said that. I think he believes it, though.
I think he believes that, though. Right, yeah. So, want to be clear here. It's belief in self. If you don't believe in you, nobody else is going to believe in you. This starts with you. This is Auburn's chance to really make everybody a believer versus Tennessee, versus 100,000 plus on the road. There's zero way this game isn't a toss-up. But I want to be clear here. I do think that Auburn has a chance to shock Tennessee. Because by this point in the season, I am not sure they will have unloaded everything that they have in the playbook.
Okay. You're talking about Auburn. Auburn will still have stuff in the playbook.
Yeah, I think they're still going to have stuff in their back pocket for this one.
Okay.
And, I mean, for a team that has a 6.5 over-under, starting 5-0 is insanely awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to get one in October. I have been clear about this. I don't think it will happen, but 0-4 in October, Ike, is just not off the table. It's not. It's not off the table. 1-3 is the most likely result of a schedule where you have to play 3 road games. and one home game. The bye week between Tennessee and Georgia. 3-1, 2-2 would be outstanding. 3-1 would be a fever dream, and 4-0 is just not happening. I don't think there's any way they clean the slate in October.
That's a tough mountain to climb.
There's a very tough mountain to climb. Because if they clean the slate in October, they're making the college football playoff. And I am not predicting Auburn to make the playoff this year. Is there a possibility they could? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not off the table, but it feels very unlikely.
It feels very unlikely. But that would be the most Auburn thing ever.
Right.
Right. In a year, coming off a year where you fired a coach and you know, suddenly Byron Brown is Cam Newton reincarnated, and then suddenly you're in the playoffs. But Alex Golesh said something very important at Media Days that it feels like a lot of people glossed over. I want to repeat that here. He said, I think we're talented enough to win every game on our schedule. He thinks that they're talented enough now to win every game on their schedule. He wasn't predicting that they would win every game, but he thinks they have the talent now to win every single game, which tells me that in his evaluation of the talent that he has, they feel like they have a viable plan for the guys that they have now. Not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now. This wasn't a rebuild for Alex Golesh. Can we agree on that? That this wasn't a rebuild?
I said this in the offseason. You don't bring Byron Brown to this team and expect them to win 6 or 7 games. That you can't tell me you bring a guy that you feel is that good and you want to slow walk your way into a couple of extra wins that season.
Which takes me to the other statement he made at Media Days in response to our question. He said he's already one of the best quarterbacks in the country. If that's true, that tree will bear the fruit of having one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And that's dubs. That's wins.
Yeah.
This is your chance to prove it. Go on the road. Listen to the most annoying fight song in the country and Rocky Top. And shut their band up. I think this is going to be, you know, I saw Jake and some other people thinking, oh, this is going to be, you know, Baylor is going to be a slugfest. Look, man, if Baylor is a slugfest, Auburn has no chance versus Tennessee. This is where you're going to see a slugfest. This is going, and I want to, again, reminder, Tennessee is another one of those teams on Auburn's early schedule with questions. They could be starting a true freshman quarterback. Fortunately for this game is in their house. But boy, man, could you make a statement to the nation if you went out and won this one? This game was bordering on, like, we don't have a tweener category, Ike, but like I have this one as a toss, but it was bordering on an L for me. It was bordering on an L for me. Even though they could be starting a true freshman quarterback, I just think you got to give Heupel the benefit of the doubt for what he has consistently done since he's been at Tennessee. If that makes sense. I think he's been pretty consistent in how they've developed guys on the offensive side and how they produced at quarterback. Jake Crane said this. I'll repeat it again. He said this to me in a segment we did. He said, look, man, you could be bad at the things you're bad at, but you can't be bad at the things you're supposed to be good at.
Correct.
Heupel is an offensive guy. Offense has not been their issue. DJ Durkin versus Josh Heupel is going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, and listen, Jim Knowles versus the Auburn Brain Trust, and all, like, again, I agree with you. This is going to be a slugfest of a game.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason why I could potentially give Auburn the nod in this one is I just think that This is why you bring Byron
Byron
Brown
Brown
in.
here. Yes, yes.
That's the reason he's here, is to get you over the hump in these kind of games.
He should not be shaken by the enormity that this game is going to be. You're 4-0 headed into this game. This is going to be primetime TV. ESPN's going to put this game front and center, primetime. If you're 4-0 going into this one, which I think Auburn will be. So,
yeah,
toss
it's going to be a huge game.
Yeah, but, 4-1 would be a great start to the season for Auburn. You just don't get run off the field, man. I want to see our guys look prepared. And if they get hit in the mouth in this one, which they certainly will be, what I'll be looking for is how do they respond? How do they respond? Week 5 is where I think you see the first true test of adversity under Alex Golesh. They're going to face adversity in this one on the road. And I want to remind everyone of that Georgia-Tennessee game last year where it looked like Tennessee was going to run away with it. And Georgia just they went blow for blow with them.
Yeah.
Until it went to overtime and Georgia prevailed. I was impressed with Gunnar Stockton. Every time they needed a big throw, whether it was 10 yards or 40 yards, he made it.
Yeah.
Those guys up there in Athens, they never believe they're going to lose a game. What does Auburn look like in this one headed to Neyland? Because I'll tell you, if it's close in the fourth quarter, Ike, how are you going to feel as a fan? I know you're going to be there, but how are you going to feel? Are you going to feel like, man, Auburn's going to pull this out? Or are you going to have that feeling in the pit of your stomach that says, we've seen this song and dance before. I know how this one ends.
Depends on how them first games go before that. How I'm going to feel going into that.
Never got over that hump with Hugh Freeze, where they were there in plenty of fourth quarters. We showed you the schedule. They were there. But pulling out none of them, other than the Texas A&M game the year before, that was wild. I think they'll be right in there every single game through the first 5 weeks. But what Auburn emerges, this will tell you how deeply rooted the culture rot is and how much work Alex Golesh still has left to do to change the mentality of the players on this team. I think that's part of the reason that you bring Byron Brown here as well, too, because he helps fast forward that process for you. You want to see how a winner prepares, how a winner plays, how a winner talks, walks, eats, sleeps. I'm bringing Byron Brown in here, and he's going to show you guys. What do we hear at media days that we heard from every player-led teams? Every coach I know has said this. Player-led teams are the best teams because they know without the players leading the charge and the example, it's hard to win, baby. Nut up. And Neyland. Let's see what you got. Show me what you have. Show me that the A and the U and means something again. People have to fear it when they see it coming. I want to see that week 5. They don't have to win it to prove it to me. But hope can't die in Neyland. They can't get blown out so bad that we're like, ugh, fool's gold.
Right.
So toss up for me.
All right. Next game on the schedule before we get to this break, of course, is game number 6, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Unfortunately, we both have this one as an L on the schedule.
Don't have to spend a ton of time here. Look.
Listen, I was close to calling this a toss-up just because
they've been competitive, right?
Yeah, and I do expect that Auburn is going to still be competitive in this one. I just am not ready to say that they are there to be able to take down the defending champs in their house. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I agree. Look, you have not won in Athens since 2005. And Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football. I mean, very clear about that. He's the best coach in college football. A lot of folks don't like his expletive-laden rants. I love it. I think he knows how to motivate his players. I think he knows how to get the most out of his guys. I said it just a couple minutes ago. I'll say it again. These guys never believe they're going to lose. And that belief that borders on delusion is dangerous. You know, I mean, I don't know if this is the right analogy to make, but if you're a religious person, part of the trick, I think, that the devil plays on our minds is they get you to stop, gets you to stop believing in yourself. The mind is a battlefield. Right? I think this is why people struggle with depression and, like, you know, because the trick is you're all alone. Nobody understands. Nobody gets you. And it can put you down in the dumps. But the opposite, Ike, is very powerful. I am not alone. My brothers will stand with me. I will put in the work. I will pay the price of pain, so I don't have to pay the price of regret later. Show me that versus Georgia. Those guys already believe it. I'm telling you that it is the right kind of delusion that they're suffering from. That they just never believe. Even in that playoff game versus Ole Miss, man, I was sitting there watching that game, and I did not believe they lost the game until the clock hit triple zeros. I was just sitting there waiting on the inevitability of some crazy play to happen, and they win. Because you are what you repeatedly do. And all those guys have done is prove that they're never out of any game. Inject that into our players' veins. Give me that attitude. That's what I want to see. So for right now, yes, this is an L. You know, I mean, I get it. I understand anybody who says, "Oh, well, you know, I think they're not unbeatable." No, they're not unbeatable.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? But if you're going to beat them, you got to be right here. Especially if you're going into their house. I think they are the absolute pinnacle of college football right now in terms of consistency and what it means to be a winner in the NIL age.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen,
I mean,
Gunnar Stockton is going to be a guy again this year. That defense is going to be ferocious again this year. They're going to have a good run game. It's difficult for me today to sit here and say Auburn is going to. I think, you know, they can keep it under 2 touchdowns. 10-point loss, something like that. But I just don't see this being a 1-score game. I think maybe a 1-score game going into the fourth quarter. But it feels like they just have the guys right now. I really do think that Georgia team is really good, even though I didn't pick them. I picked them to win the conference for a reason because I just feel like they're that good. Yeah,
they did. And for the record, I picked Georgia as well to win the conference too on my media ballot at media days. They were my conference winner. I know a lot of people feel like Texas with Arch and Cam Coleman and Steve Sarkisian is it. Georgia's going to find a way. They're going to find a way. They have questions. They have a lot of questions at wide receiver. I wonder if Durkin can take advantage of that. The problem with this game being in October is whatever kinks they have, I feel like they will have worked it out by the time they see Auburn. This is going to be really, really interesting here. But, you know, this L should not sink your season.
No, yeah. I just think Georgia's got good right now. And listen, by week 5, I may feel very differently when we go and preview this game. But as it stands today, going into the preseason, into fall camp, I have this one as an L.
Yeah.
All right. We need to get to the break here. If you are watching this anywhere out here, make sure that you go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, come over to the YouTube page, give us a like over here, and share the content with somebody so we can run these numbers up. We're going to take a quick break, get a good word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with the second half of the season right here on Boss Toss and Loss. You are watching the Weekend Tailgate.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
Tap in with us. Become a member of the YouTube channel. Green Name Gang, we always appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason we are able to do all of the things that we are able to do here. We're coming up into the season, and when the season gets rolling, guys, we are doing all kinds of additional things to keep you all in the know of what's happening with your team, the Auburn Tigers. And we are going to be doing all kinds of paywall stuff, man. So if you are not a part of the Green Name Gang now, then you are about to be missing out on the best portion of Green Name Gang's things. So make sure that you tap in with us over there and get your membership active, man. So maybe someone wants to gift a membership to you, get 30 days of membership on somebody else. Shout out to the folks who have already gifted. I think I saw Calvin Peterson. Thank you so much for going ahead and gifting a War Report membership. Again, you guys are the reason that we are able to continue to do this thing. So somebody got 30 days free on him. Also, thanks so much to the sponsors of today's segments. That is the good folks over at AIMA Associates, Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates. If your 401k is on autopilot, it's a common mistake, but as your life and your tax laws change, your strategy should too. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates provides a high-level review of your overall financial structure to make sure your workplace accounts actually align with your personal goals. They look for ways to build your financial security while identifying annual tax savings opportunities within your portfolio. If you haven't had a professional look under the hood in a while, it's time for a review. Connect with the team at AIMA today at 912-777-4128 or visit AIMAINC.com. That's AIMAINC.com. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates is an SEC registered investment advisor, and registration as an investment advisor does not advertise as does not imply, a certain level of skill or training. Make sure you tap in over there. Again, that initial consultation is absolutely free, so it costs you nothing to just kind of figure out where you are from a financial situation. All the guys on the network have done Boss Toss and Loss. We will reveal Caesar's, Dylan and Dustin's Boss Toss and Loss at some point during this week. So make sure you stay tapped in with the network. They will be discussing it on their own channels over at Uptempo and College Loop as well. We got the Justice Sec Pod and the War Report Gaming channel. So you guys make sure that you are tapped in with all the different things across the network. And listen, if you haven't already had a chance to go check it out, make sure you tap in over here on the website. Shop with us, thewarreport.com. So much great stuff going on over there, including articles that's going up on the website. We'll start cranking those articles up as fall camp begins. You will get a lot more content going up over there as well. So much great stuff. We're back here, Auburn Express TV, Boss Toss Loss 2026. Right now, we're getting into the second half of the season. Before we do, I want to get these super chats. Thank you to everyone who has super chatted or sent a member chat. I'll start with Exclusive TV.
Yeah.
I started to play this earlier. He said, off topic, but we may have the best linebacker room before the year is out. Call my bluff. Atkins, Elijah, Riddick, and can't forget Diaz. It's going to be scary. Yes.
Before the year is out. I think they got it now.
Listen, that linebacker room is... Again, those are just the names that were already on the team. There are freshmen that are on this team. I am so ready to see some of what I love about what DJ Durkin has been able to do so far is he's kept a really good rotation of young players getting opportunities early so that you can get them minutes and let you see what they can do in real game scenarios. I expect him to continue to do that. That linebacker room is going to be one of the most formidable rooms as long as DJ Durkin is the defensive coordinator for Auburn. He just knows how to churn out really great linebackers, and this room is stacked. Absolutely stacked with talent.
Yeah. Elijah Melendez, man.
Yeah.
He just looked so ridiculous coming out of high school. And from all reports are he's put the work in the weight room this offseason. He might be physically the most imposing figure on this team.
Yeah.
Come game one. I can't wait to see his transformation.
Tennessee King says, ran into Kay and Lee in Knoxville and definitely let him know that it would be a boss. Hashtag war damn eagle. Said, Kay, get ready for us to come bring that L to your stadium. Rev Barn Burner, the Reverend says 9-3, but the losses are a toss. Tennessee.
Thank you for being a member.
Alabama. Say again.
Thank you for being a member for 7 months, Reverend.
Yeah, for sure. Super chat from him as well. He says Auburn leaves Athens 6-0, thinks that they get the dub.
Playoffs.
I'd love to see it.
Playoffs.
I'd love to see it. Exclusive TV with the super chat. We get Bama this year with McPherson kicking the game winner 24-21. Love to see that as well.
McPherson, we didn't get a chance to talk to Alex at Media Days. I wish we had. God, man, he's got a great testimony. And I hope this year helps him build that testimony for others who are going through what he is going through. And I mean, if you have a chronic condition, there, as far as I know, there was an autoimmune nature to some of the things that he was going through. And Ike, man, I've said it here. I'll say it again. You never know what somebody else is going through. They can look perfectly fine to your face, and they could be fighting. They could be in the fight of their life, right behind the scene, behind the eyes. McPherson, I think, embodies what it means to persevere, to do the things he's doing, what he's going through. I don't know if I will ever have rooted for a player more than I will be rooting for Alex McPherson this year.
Yeah, he is definitely an inspiration for anybody who knows his story. Member chat here. Member for 50 months, Antonio Smith says, if we beat Georgia, booked it, we win the SEC. That Georgia game is the measuring stick. It is for sure the measure. Like, Georgia is the standard by which SEC teams are measured.
For sure. Yeah. If you beat Georgia, I mean, what do you think this first year is going to be? Do you think there is a chance they could beat Georgia, but like lose to Vandy at home? This was kind of like the freeze thing, right? It was beat Alabama, lose to Vanderbilt, same season. And then somehow in the year you beat Alabama, you can't win the SEC West. Yeah. Getting over that hump, but then still falling short of the ultimate goal is got to be frustrating. I hope that's something that Auburn doesn't suffer from under Alex Golesh. Like, if you can beat Georgia, great. But you got to handle business versus the others. And while that might seem rudimentary, we see it all the time in college football. A team pulls off a massive upset and then loses some game they have no business losing. For Auburn, Kentucky would have been that game last year. You had no business losing that game at home to the worst team in the SEC in almost every statistic. 10-3. Without the Elijah Melendez interception, you might not score any points in that game.
Right.
The floor can't be 0 points in a football game for Auburn ever again. And it definitely can't be no touchdowns. You couldn't muster one touchdown at home,
right?
Versus Kentucky with all that 5-star talent. It didn't matter like that. There was something broken with that team that we hope Alex Golesh fixes. And I don't know, man. I struggle with this because I've got a decent relationship with you, and I wish him well. I pray for him every single day in what he's going through. But how Auburn ended up where they were at still blows my mind. How he is not the coach as we sit here talking today with all that talent, that blows my mind. That's why I don't think, people are like, I expect this to be good in 2 or 3 years. No. I expect this to be good now. Because the base of talent behind like Cam and Perry, those guys that left, is still better than what most teams have. That's how well they recruited.
Yeah. Listen, this team is still immensely talented. So thoughts that somehow they're going to take some drop off in the skill positions because those guys left. Again, I say they weren't even used. So how skilled they were is irrelevant because nobody used them. Even with the threat of them being there, they didn't use that threat properly to make the run game go. So it was irrelevant that they were on the team. It didn't help the offense one bit. And it's not because those guys aren't talented. It's because they weren't put in positions to do anything. So that has no bearing in my mind on whether or not this team is going to be talented enough to go get dubs.
Facts.
D Lev says, all I will say is if we are 5-0, watch the F out mutts. Yep. You Warrior says, not gonna lie, every year y'all get better and better with the content and analysis. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, brother.
We're trying to do what we could do out here in these streets, man. There's a lot of people out here doing it, and we're trying to make sure we don't fall behind.
If you watched our media day coverage, bar none, I felt like it was the best media day as we've had since we've been doing this. I don't know.
It was our best media days.
Yeah, it was our best media days. We put out so much content, the flow of it. Guys, producing stuff on site is really difficult when you have to be the on-screen talent and the tech. And I can tell you, most independent organizations hit a wall when it comes to trying to set up the cameras and the lights and produce things on site. The other media organization at Media Days I think that is close to doing what we do at the same level we do it is that SEC podcast, our guy SEC Mike. Cameras set up, right? Mike's board. I mean, they do a really, really good job. And Mike and I actually share ideas every single year about how we can improve what we're doing on site at Media Days, because when you're not sitting in a studio, it's very, very difficult to do. So I really appreciate that comment, because when I tell you we work on it. Ike and I are on the phone hours a week trying to figure out how we bring you guys better content every single year. There's a lot of folks that feel like they've arrived because they got the X amount of subscribers, or, I had this video do X. We're never satisfied. And that's for you guys. That's to the benefit of you guys. We want to bring you better content every single week, and and improve. We don't wait till the end of the season to make it better. We want to make it better for you now. So if you have ideas on what that looks like, drop us an email to our business@thewarreport.com, or, drop it in the comment section of a video. Just let us know. We'll take feedback very, very, very well.
For sure. All right, let's get back into it. Second half of the season coming here. We've just gone through the first 6 games. For those of you who missed it, rewind the video. I'm not recapping it. All right. Number 7 here. Mike says toss. I say toss as well. The LSU Tigers come into town. Lane Kiffin in his first stint as the LSU head coach versus Alex Golesh. Both of us have this as a toss-up game there. Listen, more so a toss-up because I don't have the first clue what this LSU team is going to be. Like, they could be amazing, right? Yeah. Like, they could be because they have all the talent in the world, right? All the talent in the world. Or they could be absolutely abysmal because they haven't been able to put this Frankenstein monster together in a way in which they're able to get on the same page versus a team in Auburn that I expect at this point into season to have figured it all out.
Yeah, I am with you. I think you said it perfectly. I don't know. We have noted this about Lane Kiffin. Somehow he always ends up on the right quarterback before the season becomes a disaster. This is a talent. And Austin Simmons won the job, the starting QB job at Ole Miss coming out of camp. I want to remind everybody of this, right? Because when we talk about, people feel sometimes that we, the war report, stir up QB controversies. And QB play has been so unreliable. I don't know how anybody doesn't have questions about whether they picked the right guy or not, especially when we're seeing what we're seeing. But there is a fan myth that if a guy won a job in camp, that there cannot be someone on the roster better than him.
Yeah, he knows how to put quarterbacks in the right positions. His offenses are quarterback friendly. So I think that they can trot out anybody who they have recruited at quarterback, and they're going to be talented enough to go out there and get wins. So it's not that I have a thing of whether I feel like Sam Levitt is good or not. They're going to be good offensively because Lane Kiffin is the head coach.
So
Charlie Weiss Jr. is still the offensive coordinator. They're going to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean,
the question for me is always going to be on the other side of the football with Lane Kiffin coach teams.
Yeah. I just Sam Levitt is a playoff quarterback. Now, he had a lot of help. That dude that they were playing with at running back that year when they went with Cam Scatterboo, woo, boy, was he a monster. A 1,600-yard monster. He was good. He was real good. Lane Kiffin, if he's proven anything, he's proven he knows how to coach up quarterbacks, even if it's not the first dude. So I would not be surprised if Sam Levitt is not the starting QB when they come to Jordan Hare. But whoever comes up behind him is playing at an extremely high level.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, they're so. Lane is another great example of, I think, you give him the benefit of the doubt for certain things because he consistently does that thing well.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue that I see with Lane Kiffin coach teams is usually year one with a new quarterback, unless that dude is Trinidad Chambliss for some reason. But usually year one with a new quarterback, the quarterback struggles to pick up like the reads, and you tend to see like more interceptions than normal in that first season. Sam Levitt, an experienced guy, so I don't necessarily expect that from Sam Levitt. And if he's not able to go, maybe you see that with whoever the backup is going to end up being. But that's really the only issue that you typically, because those teams are still, even with all of the interceptions, they're going to score a bunch of points. They're going to make you not want to sleep the night before if you're the defensive coordinator because of all the ways that they can put you in bad situations. And they're a tempo team. Now, here's the other thing that I will say of why this is still firmly a toss for me.
Okay.
And this is something that I believe Alex Golesh is who said this, is that actually it might have been somebody who came on with us talking about how when you practice tempo versus a team that's tempo, it's a lot easier for you to do that in games because you're seeing tempo all of the time in practice. It's a lot easier to slow down what you're doing from a processing standpoint as a defense than trying to speed it up. They don't have to, as a defense with DJ Durkin, speed up their processing because they've been going against a team that's been in the top 10 offensively in terms of pace of play under Alex Golesh. They're going to be again this year. So tempo is not going to be the thing that throws them off with Lane Kiffin. He's going to have some scheme things that you have to adjust to, but it's not going to be good because they're going fast. So that's the reason why I think the defense can keep Auburn in this game. But to me, it's going to be all about how well the LSU defense is able to get it together by that point in the season. If they've got it together, they've got enough talent to go out there and do well. But that defense has been kind of limping through seasons before now. And for whatever reason, Lane Kiffin coached offenses have handicapped defenses. So we'll see.
Hear me out. This is where I think this game is going to be a slugfest. And this is where I think Byron Brown gives you a little bit of an edge. The best way to slow a Kiffin offense down when they're rolling it's just to keep them off the field.
Yeah.
If Byron Brown can sustain drives and those drives end in points more often than not, and I'm not talking about driving 99 yards to kick a field goal. Get down there, score points. It doesn't have to and we're saying slugfest, but I don't want to speak for you, but I do want to make it clear what I mean when I say slugfest. It doesn't mean that I think that the game is going to be high scoring. I mean, it's just going to be blow after blow, right? Touchdowns, interceptions, big time sacks, right? Big play after big play from both sides. Auburn hits a 50-yard pass, LSU sack for 15 yards, minus 15 yards. This is a back and forth kind of thing where both sides are making plays on both sides of the ball. Back in the day, this was the game, man. The players used to talk. If you listen to Caddy and Ronnie talk about what it was like for them in recovery after the LSU game every year, they said it's always the hardest hitting game of the year. So when we play LSU, we knew we were going to have to spend X amount of time and hours in the cold tub just trying to recover from what the physical toll this game takes on you. I love that this game is back on the schedule. When they started doing all the movement with the elimination of divisions, and I was upset to see for the first time, I think it was since 1990, Auburn and LSU weren't going to play. It's been a really, really long time. This game in Auburn's better seasons has always meant something. Go back to 2004. They won this game by a point. And this was the hump they had to get over. The undefeated 04 season absolutely does not happen if they don't pull it out. And it came down to a 4th and 12. Jason Campbell to Courtney Taylor. Throws a touchdown. They end up missing an extra point and then get an amazing reprieve from the refs on something that was absolutely a penalty that, oddly enough, one Saban advocated for in the offseason, and it came back to bite him. But fast forward to 2010. Cam has the run versus Patrick Peterson. And that was the game. Everyone was like, oh, Cam Newton's for real. Auburn's for real. 2013, they lost the game. But in the second half of that game, you, me, B, Caesar, everybody who watched that said, looks like they found something in the second half of that game. They went on to win every game until the national title after that. This game could mean something this year, whether Auburn wins or loses it. And it doesn't have to be a one-loss season anymore. It's a 12-team playoff. This is a toss in my book, but I think Auburn wins it.
I'm hoping Auburn gets the dub as well in that one. Moving on to the next game on the schedule after LSU, this is where we go exact opposite directions. Mike G has Boss versus Ole Miss. I have it as a loss. All right.
I don't know if you want me to explain myself, but go ahead.
I'm going to explain myself because I think more people are going to be upset with me. Listen, I think that Trinidad Chambliss is. I went back and watched the film, man. The statistics and the highlights speak for themselves. They went and got an offensive coordinator that is going to put a similar style offense in place for Chambliss. And I just think that offense is going to be humming this year, man. Like, I really do think that Ole Miss offense is going to be even better this season somehow. And I think that they got Keywan Lacey coming back. They got a monster at tight end over there. And I think that defense probably is going to be about what they were last year. Not great, but good and situational and able and advantageous in certain spaces. And yeah, I think that Ole Miss is going to win this football game right now. Auburn's going to have to show me something to change my mind. The only reason, and I don't think it was close to being a toss for me. Let me just say that. I'm not firmly like, oh man, Ole Miss is going to beat the brakes off of Auburn type of thing. But I do think that this might be a multiple score game by the end of it. Close game going into the fourth. Same thing I said before at one of the other games, but I think ultimately 10 or more in favor of the Ole Miss Rebels in this one. And I hate saying that because y'all know I do not like Ole Miss. Like, they will forever be broken ugly to me. But I think Trinidad Chambliss is just that dude.
Yeah. Everything you said is absolutely accurate.
And is at Ole Miss. If it had been at Auburn, I probably would feel differently.
Hear me out. The good folks in Vegas gave Ole Miss an 8.5 over under coming into this season. I think that there is a shot, and you know, and then that's moved, I think. So when we did this graphic, Ole Miss had a 7.5 over under. It is now 8.5. So they moved them up. The weight of expectation is something that is very difficult to project how it's going to affect a football team. I don't know if I believe in Pete Golding's offseason process yet.
That's fair.
You come into the season with a guy who I think should be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, regardless of how their season ends. The same way Jayden Daniels won the Heisman, but LSU missed the playoffs in 2023. I think that Ole Miss could be that same kind of team. They're going to lose some games. This is going to be one of them. I have said over and over again, 1-3 is the likely result for the month of October. So Georgia, Neyland, toss up. LSU, toss up. Auburn's going to win one in October. I think it's Ole Miss on the road. I'm not sure Oxford is a difficult place to go get. Like,
yeah, I don't know that it's a crazy. I think that environment probably is better now that Ole Miss has started to win. They're definitely front running over there, but yeah.
Like, it didn't strike fear in my heart. We got to go to Oxford, Mississippi, right? Like, it strikes fear in my heart for different reasons, but. But I will say this. I liked Pete Golding at Media Days. I thought he was very likable, and I thought he did a great job at Media.
He was all right. He came off as a sleaze bag to me, but like, I do think he's a good football player.
Yeah, a little bit of a sleaze bag, but yeah. I don't know if Ole Miss can handle coming into the season with these expectations on their quarterback and on them. Vegas certainly does not think that they're a playoff team. They're going to lose this game to Auburn. I think DJ Durkin outduels Pete Golding defensively, and I think that Trinidad Chambliss lays a dud in this game. Of all the teams that could be equipped to keep him off the scoreboard, Auburn will be one of the best scoring defenses in the country at 2026. Now, you know, I'm a big DJ Durkin guy. And I think this game proves it. So give me, if they have to start October on a 3-game slide, which is going to hurt, it's going to be painful. Those games will be close. But give me Auburn. Alex Goles has got to go on the road and get one, Ike.
Yeah.
He's got to go on the road and get one. He will go on the road and get one in year 1. I'm not giving him Athens. Neyland is a tough one, even though I think that they've got a shot there. I think it's Ole Miss. Give me Alex Goles on the road in Oxford with the dub. Byron Brown absolutely obliterates that Ole Miss defense.
Not mad at that.
Got to go
all.
1-3. It's good if they have to go 1-3. It's going to be Ole Miss, and I think if they went 2-2, bookend them. They win at Neyland and they win at Ole Miss. Lose the 2 in the middle.
All right, next game on the schedule. That why do I still have Vanderbilt on this thing? Mississippi State. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. FanDuel says that Mississippi State is plus 20,000. If you don't know what that means that you have a better chance of getting hit by lightning in the sunshine that Mississippi State has of winning the conference. They're this year's Kentucky in my book. The worst team on your schedule, but also the worst team in the league. You got no business losing this game. I don't care where it's at. Go beat their butts and get this dub win for Auburn. I like Kamario Taylor, by the way. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. There's not enough talent around him.
I skipped Arkansas for some reason. That's why Vanderbilt was on here twice.
Okay.
I skipped Arkansas. I was like, what's going on with this? All right. Anyway, Arkansas is a dub too. I ain't got no graphic for it.
They're
Boston,
the other
Arkansas.
worst team in the SEC.
Yeah.
Right? So they see them the same way. Which one? It's Mississippi State that's on the road, right?
Yes.
All right, so Mississippi State is the road game. I said what I said about Ole Miss, but beating Mississippi State on the road is not a big win. It's not. That proves nothing. So boss both those teams up to start November.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Arkansas fans. I 100% skipped you on my graphic, and that should tell you what I think about that game. I just like of the 2 teams that we are talking about right now, Arkansas and Mississippi State. Mississippi State's the only one that I feel like even has a shot to make it competitive.
Competitive, yeah. On
the road in the Cowbell Dome. And Kamario Taylor, you got a shot, but listen, Arkansas, you come into the crib, that game gets wonky, but man, Auburn, just win that game and move on to the next week, bro.
So here's what I feel. I feel like Alex Goles plus Byron Brown equals we stop having to worry about losing to the worst teams in the league. The only way this is acceptable is if Mississippi State if Kamario Taylor ends up being a Heisman candidate and they're undefeated somehow coming into this game.
Listen, I believe in Jeff Lebby as an offensive mind.
Yes.
I think that their offenses are going to be good, and I do think that Kamario Taylor is a really good player. I think Zach Arnett is he's one of the few coaches that still plays, the 3-3-5 defense, right? And so he's going to give you something that you haven't seen a lot of times to have to go out there and scheme against. So Mississippi State is not a cakewalk of a game, but I still have it as a boss. Just because, again, I do think that Auburn can win that game by multiple scores. Mississippi State's another team that probably should have won more games last year than they did, and they kind of coughed it up at the end of games in a couple of situations. So they're not probably as bad as their record looks, and they played some really good teams tough last season because they were able to score against damn near everybody. But, yeah, give me Auburn with the dub there.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. After Mississippi State, we got, of course, Samford there. Boss that up. I don't know that this needs a lot of discussion. You win that game and keep it moving. And we move forward to the final game of the season. Auburn takes on those guys on the other side of the state. Both of us have this as a toss-up game.
My goodness.
In Tuscaloosa.
Alabama is trending down. They've been trending backwards since Saban retired. I watched Saban at media days when Kalen DeBoer was on the stage. He has not stopped coaching up here.
For sure.
That man has not stopped coaching up here. Alabama isn't Alabama anymore. They're just not. Now, FanDuel opened with them as an 8.5 over under. They're still at 8.5. They can hit the over there and miss the college football playoff. Auburn has not won in Tuscaloosa since 2010. And even then, it took an all-time performance by the best player in college football history to come back. They were able to stun Auburn for about a quarter and a half. And then Cam did what Cam does. This is where, to me, this is, again, where you bring Byron Brown to Auburn for this game. If you're Byron, this is the game you pray for when you go play college football. The eyes of the world will be on you. The hopes and dreams of Auburn fans will be on you. You carry that flag for 1 million Auburn alum. Hope that we can end the streak of losing in Tuscaloosa. Go get this one. This will be you. If you're Byram, you have a chance to cement your name in the Auburn record books on a page that will never be removed. You can make absolute, undeniable history in this game, Mike.
Yeah.
Go get the win. The last time me and you went to Tuscaloosa to cover the Iron Bowl, Auburn turned Alabama over 4 times in that game and lost.
Yep.
Doing everything they could to try to win that game, and they couldn't. If you're selling me on Byron Brown for this 1-year thing that they had going on, I want to see him go get this one, man.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a toss-up, but not because I feel like Alabama is going to be this tough team and that Kalen DeBoer is going to cook us. No, it's not for that. This is about Auburn getting out of Auburn's head. This is about battling our own inner demons to go win this game. It's crazy. Like, there are players who don't really understand the weight of this game until it arrives or until they get to Auburn. Alex Golish has an Iron Bowl period at practice. They're practicing for this game as we speak. So that tells me that he understands the enormity of this one. Can you cap your season with a win? If this season goes the best case scenario, I think for Auburn is 10-2. The absolute best case scenario is 10-2.
I mean, if they win all their toss-up games, that's exactly what I have on my.
Yeah, I think it's 10-2. However, hear me out. To get there, they're going to have to be good and lucky.
Yeah.
They're going to need the ball to bounce their way. They're going to need a favorable call from the refs the same way other teams got it versus Auburn last year. I think they get to 10-2. You're going to have to flip some of those calls on their head this coming season. But if that happens rolling into the Iron Bowl, and Byron Brown is the best version of himself that we've seen at the college level yet, this Iron Bowl could be a play-in game for the playoffs. That's my way too early hot take for the season. The Iron Bowl this year has a chance to be a play-in game for the playoffs. And when it's all on the line and you could make the playoffs in year one, the same way Brian Kelly rolled into LSU, man, and won the SEC West in year one. Don't tell me it can't happen. Every good season in Auburn history it feels like it's come off the back of a terrible season. I hope it becomes more consistent that good things happen after good things. But this is just where we're at for this year. You are coming off a 5-7 season. Let me see what you are. What is this team going to be by the end of the year mentally? What will we believe about them? Are they going to be mentally tough? Right? Are we going to feel like, hey, man, give us the fourth. Let's just get to the fourth quarter and we got a chance. Alabama just isn't going to lay down and die.
No, this is not. I don't think anybody walks away with this game in a blowout.
No, not at all. But if Auburn is going to win it, if anybody's going to blow anybody out, it's going to be Alabama. Alabama's going to blow Auburn out at home in their house. That's more likely than the other way around. But if Auburn's going to win it, you're going to have to they're going to leave it all on the line. It's going to take superior athleticism. It's going to take superior coaching to get a dub in this one. Because let me tell you something. If both teams are fighting for their playoff lives by this Iron Bowl, it will come down to who wants it more. And I would bet good money on a hungry Auburn that has made it to that point than an entitled Alabama that expects it to be handed to them. Saban complained about it himself with not only his players, but the fans. Leaving games early, they won so much, it just became an expectation. People forgot what it costs, the price that's paid every offseason to produce winning season after winning season. In his first SEC media days, I asked Kayla DeBoer directly, how are you going to adapt for the level of competition you're going to see week in and week out in the SEC? He acted like it was, we're just going to do what we do. All right. Guess what, Ike? 0 SEC championships since he's been here. Alabama is, again, the name, it was Saban. It was never Alabama. It was Saban. So Alex Golesh has a chance to make Auburn feared again. Can they do it? This Iron Bowl is an opportunity for them to do that. Yes, this game is a toss-up. I think Auburn has a better chance in Tuscaloosa than they've had in the last 15 years coming into this one. They've got questions. What will it look like at the end of the season? Do you think that they'll be on their same QB? Whoever comes out of fall camp?
I don't think so. I think they start Austin Mack, and I think that they end with Keelan. So,
you think they start Austin Mack?
Yeah,
okay,
I do.
Yeah, we got to talk to some Bama people before the season.
Unless Austin Mack has a terrible fall. I think he's going to get the nod out the gate game one.
This is going to be a fantastically awesome season. Get ready for a roller coaster. Auburn fans, get ready for a roller coaster. The Auburn Tigers are going to take you on a ride this season. And I think it starts up in September, because there's not a game in September that I'm worried about, really, if Alex Goldish is the real and Byron Brown are the real deal. Give me a win versus Baylor. Give me a win versus Southern Miss. Beat Florida. Take down Vanderbilt. October is always where this season was going to be defined. Now, I think we've shown you in our boss toss and loss. I've got a little bit more hope, I think, than most. Putting that Ole Miss game down, I knew there would be significant pushback. Putting it as a boss, but I'm projecting that Auburn will continue to get better. And it hinges on a couple things. Number one, I think Auburn continues to get better as the season goes along. And number two, I think Byron Brown stays healthy throughout the season. Trusting the talent around him, handing that ball off to Jeremiah Cobb and Nakai Davenport and Bryson Washington, and letting them take some of the weight of that run game so that when he runs it, he's fresh, ready to make plays. When he pulls that thing, lights out. Auburn is the sleeper in the SEC this season. And because it's unusual to have a school recruit as well as Auburn has, yet the results fall so far below the talent levels. That's how they're being overlooked, I'm telling you. The results have been so far below the talent levels, people are just like, oh, well, they were a 5-7 football team. I argued with Chris Marler about this when we talked about Auburn, and he was just kind of like, he thinks 7-5. And I said, no. He said, and he is Chris is pointing to what they've done. And I'm like, Chris, this isn't the same football team.
Yeah. Yeah. I just always think that that's a bad argument, especially in this, because you can say that about so many teams about, well, Florida last year, they did X, Y, and Z. It's a different football team this year, man. Like we can't look at what they did the previous year and say that that's Vanderbilt went 10-2 last year. Nobody's sitting there saying to themselves, oh, they were 10-2 team last year. They could be a 10. No, nobody's saying that.
That over under came right back down to the reality of the talent levels that are there in Nashville. 6.5. You're right. They were 10-2 football team. Maintaining that expectation is hard. Yeah. They had to outperform every expectation for their football team to arrive at 10-2 last year. It is an unlikely event that they would do that 2 years in a row. The same way I feel like it's unlikely that Auburn will underperform the talent levels under a new coach. So don't give me 5-7. Don't tell me 7-5 best case scenario. F off. 8-4 or bust, Ike. 8-4 or bust. I'm not lowering my expectations for this university. I'm not lowering my expectations for these players or these coaches. $6.5 million a year. That's what he's getting paid. We're not paying you $1 million a win, so don't give me 6-6. Alex Goldish, by this time next year, we should be talking about him being a $10-12 million a year coach. And never leaving the Plains. Because it's clear that Auburn was missing leadership. I'm already impressed with what they've done, and look at what they did in recruiting. You and I thought maybe top 15 would be great, and then suddenly they were inside the top 10. It was like, whoa, where did that come from? The only thing that was missing was like a top 10 overall prospect. like a consensus 5-star kid. Once they start doing that, it might be over for y'all. So, I mean, no disrespect to Baylor or anybody else on Auburn's schedule, but disrespect to y'all.
Yeah.
The ceiling is championship, because because we've done it. We've seen it. We've won it. In this lifetime, we've won it. In this lifetime, we've been there. You and I were in school in the early 2000s when they went undefeated. Shortly after we left, they won it all. A couple of years later, they went back. When we planned our guys' trip, we said this. We were like, do you know we may never get another chance like this again? Myself, Caesar, Deontay Rufaro, boy, we got them tickets to that Rose Bowl so fast. Now, I wish I had stayed home because that was a really expensive loss to watch. But this time, if they make it, it'll be a lot cheaper for me and you. It'll be a lot cheaper for me and you to go watch the game this time if they make it.
Man, I would absolutely listen. That Final Four was an amazing experience with Auburn basketball. I'd love to be able to cover a playoff run for Auburn football. I would love to.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they have a chance to deliver that to us. They have a chance to deliver that to us, and it's nobody's going to see it coming when it does. Normally with Auburn, it's usually, the curse of 2004 was that in 2003, when the expectations were on them and they started the season ranked 6th in the country, then they got blown out by USC. And I think the media felt kind of betrayed by Auburn going into 2004. So they started them so far back that at the end of the season, Auburn, despite going undefeated through the SEC, could not overtake Oklahoma or USC. And those two teams started the season, preseason 1 and 2 in the country. So because they never lost the game, there were 4 or 5 undefeated teams that year, right? It was USC, it was Oklahoma, it was Auburn, and it was Utah. Urban Meyer's Utah. I believe Alex Smith was actually the quarterback of that team at Utah that year. Utah felt like they had a case. They had no case. Auburn being left out changed the course of college football that year. Auburn gets left out, and after they get left out, no SEC team, if it were close, would ever get left out again. They actually tweaked the BCS formula because it produced a blowout, 55-19. That was the score of a national title game. But people were still so. This is the air of thinking, oh, but they did this the year before. So, right, people were so stuck on that 22 or 23-0 score of USC versus Auburn the year before that they left out a team that had 4 first-round draft picks. If they had that to do over again, if we repeat history, Auburn makes the national title game in 2004 10 times out of 10 if you had to do it over again. There's nobody, despite what happened the year before, that would leave Auburn out. Now, I credit 2004 Auburn for the reason that LSU, as a 2-loss team, made the championship game in 2007. And they absolutely mopped up Ohio State in that one. So, the level of competition in this conference, the level of commitment to winning in how you pay your coaches and raise money for facilities and do all these things is the reason why I'm telling you Auburn has a chance to do something that nobody sees coming this year. Nobody's going to see it coming. Who had Ole Miss in the playoffs before last season started? Like, who had Ole Miss in the playoffs before last season started?
mean, yeah, nobody saw Trinidad Chambliss.
Because you could not predict Trinidad Chambliss.
Right.
You could not predict that. I'm telling you, Byron Brown has that same kind of potential. And it's very rare that a kid of his talent level lasts this many years at the college level. That's why I think he has a chance to do something really special. So, look, man, you guys are you can be doubtful of what Auburn can do here, and I know that this boss toss and loss is going to get ridiculed, and people are going to misunderstand the assignment and say, "Oh, you guys are saying Auburn's going to go 10-2." No, we're saying that it is an outlier possibility that they could, if certain things go right and other things go wrong for other schools. You cannot look at this thing so singularly where you're just looking at the one team. You have to, to project what you feel is going to happen on the other side. And what I'm telling you is that Auburn has more, I think, solid things we can predict than the schools they face. We know what Auburn is going to be offensively with Byron Brown at quarterback, because this coach and this quarterback have played together along with a bunch of the talent that they brought in. This was not a rebuild. But Auburn, very unusually, the line between what they were and what they could have been was so thin. But it is a vast gap. Their ceiling, looking at that schedule, I would challenge the most pessimistic of our commenters. I can't take Daniel seriously, so I'm going to leave him out of this. But Jake, looking at last year's schedule, if Auburn had Byron Brown at quarterback and a good play caller, how many of those games that they lost that you think they would have won? With Byron Brown and a good play caller. How many? Jake, no, this is not rhetorical. Hit the comment section and answer it, because you real loud on every single video telling us that we're delusional. You look at that schedule and you tell me, with Byron Brown at quarterback and a good play caller, how many games that they lost do you think they would have won? If the question is even half of them, Ike, Auburn's an 8-win football team. An 8 or 9-win football team. That's how crazy. One-score games. With no QB. And barely any play calling. One-score games. If they have improved at all, because they have consistency on defense. There's not a lot that we wanted to renew offensively anyway. So if they got better, then you start looking at what other teams are on Auburn's schedule. You're like, wait a minute. If we've solved the coaching issue, Auburn and Florida, Auburn might have the advantage, especially with the game in their house. Vanderbilt, Vandy, that's not even close. In terms of overall talent, they were better coached last year on offense. Certainly. But this year, Tennessee, you got a little bit closer. Ole Miss, you got a little bit closer. Then you don't give up your Kentucky this year, which would be Arkansas or Mississippi State. I don't know. Maybe Alice Golish flops. I think it's very unlikely, but maybe, and the naysayers will be right, and they'll come back and they'll say, see, I told you. They would rather Auburn lose and they be right than just admit that these guys have a chance to do something that nobody expects, especially when you have a history of doing that. Auburn has a history of doing that. You are at a school where Heisman can be born because they've done it. You are at a school where you can win the SEC because they have. When people make the argument against the SEC and then like to omit that it was like 5 different schools that won national championships during the BCS era. So it was not just Alabama and everybody else. Auburn won it and played for another one. Georgia won it. LSU won it. Florida won it. Alabama won it. And you had other schools knocking on the door. Now we're in a 12-team playoff era. So you no longer have to be perfect toward your regular season, through your regular season, to get a seat at the table. If we have a coach now we believe is going to raise the bar, all right, let's go. I know Baylor doesn't have that. Their coach is on the way out. He'll be lucky to survive the season. Florida thinks they found it in Summerall. I would argue you got really unlucky that he did not end up at Auburn.
I mean, Auburn got really lucky he didn't end up at Auburn, too.
Right. Mississippi State, they're not in better shape than you. Arkansas, they're in shambles. They're on your schedule. We'll see what Ole Miss does with the weight of expectation actually on them. Georgia's going to be Georgia. LSU, hear me out, right? With Lane we know the offense will be good, but make no mistake, they just fired a guy that won. Brian Kelly won the SEC West in his first year, produced a Heisman the year after that, and got fired. He didn't have a losing season, and he got fired. They're not going to adjust their expectations for Lane. He just left a school where just being a part of the conversation was good enough at Ole Miss because they've never won anything there. So it was like, oh, we're just happy that we're kind of good consistently. Well, being kind of good consistently will get you fired at LSU.
For sure.
Because they've won championships in recent memory. They produced 2 Heismans since 2019. Their standard is we are good enough to win it all. But let's see how long he survives that. Because by year 3, if they're missing the playoffs, he's going to be on the hot seat. Alex Golish has a chance to just coach free, man. The expectation at Auburn is still championships. I don't care. People can laugh at it if they want to, but we've won it. We won it in 2010. We went in 2013. We were knocking on the door in 2017. The recruiting is there. It's just the challenge has just been finding a guy who can bring it all together. That's the battle everybody is fighting in college football. Indiana thinks they found it in Kirk Cignetti. Ike, let me tell you something. Their schedule is Charmin 2-ply soft.
Right.
So there's not going to be much of an excuse to not perform versus that schedule. Let's see how they do with returning champs type expectations on them and a Charmin 2-ply schedule. They should be a walk into the playoffs. They picked up Josh Hoover at quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a career 10,000-yard guy. Now Signetti is talking crazy, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little too early to be talking like that, brother. You got one. We'll give you that. But doing it again and again and again, that's a different story. So, a consistent Alice Golish talked all offseason about having a process-driven program. If he has implemented that, what I expect to see is those razor-thin margins that we saw on last year's schedule, that Auburn is going to end up on the right side of at least some of those games, which puts them in the 8-win category from where they were. You turn half of those games around your 8-win football team. And if you brought Byron Brown here to set the floor at 8, not 7, not 6, not just barely make a bowl game. You brought him in here to set the floor at 8. Go out and find your next Byron Brown. Get him in here and keep it pushing. The portal era has sped up timelines for everybody. You got to be competitive faster. You need to be bordering on playoffs by year 2, if not year 1, depending on the situation that you walk into. 8 is acceptable for me in year 1. It is. My expectation is still championships, but 8 is acceptable in year 1. And I want to leave the door open for something to go wrong along the offensive line, or you know how it is. But by years 2 and 3, depth certainly Auburn should be in the playoffs. If we make it to 2028 and Auburn is not in the college football playoffs, hot seat. Hot seat. Let's go, man. I'm excited for this season. I think that fans should be excited, and I don't know if there's a fan base in America that deserves a winning season more than Auburn fans. The way they showed up these last 3 years, selling out every home game, to watch them lose. We were giving away tickets, man, and people were like, I could finally afford to get my family to a game, and they can't win at home. You owe the fans that back. I like John Cohen. I hope he made a good pick here at coach, because I don't think he's going to get a chance to hire a third football coach if this doesn't work out. So let's go. Get the season kicked off right. Go kick Baylor's butt. Right, and open SEC play strong. Really strong. How can you not be excited to watch Byron Brown run the football in Jordan-Hare Stadium? I'm so excited to see that. He's going to be a load to tackle. So, Alyssa Scott, 1 loss max this year. I think Georgia was the only game I put in the loss column.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be an interesting season. I'm looking forward to seeing what Auburn's able to do. Yeah. They've got an opportunity to shock some people right out the gate, starting with that Florida game. They've got an opportunity to really put some people on notice. A couple of chats here before we get out. War Eagle Steve says, Bama equals boss. I'm going on record to say Auburn will have the same or better record than Bama. Ooh. Saban's fingerprints are no longer on this roster.
It's Kalen DeBoer's roster now, for sure.
For sure. For sure. Let's see. AUTK correctly says much earlier, players report Tuesday, practice starts Wednesday. We will start having coverage for you guys of spring ball on this week. So you guys make sure that you are tapped in. More Boss Toss and Loss from the rest of the network coming this week as well. So it's that time, man. We are in the portion of the season, or of the off season, I should say, where we're really talking about what's going to happen. This is our first prediction type of show. We've done some preview stuff for some of the games. There's still some games left. I think we stopped doing predictions at, I forgot what the last game was that you were doing predictions for. Was it Tennessee or Georgia?
I think it was Ole Miss.
Oh, you went as far as Ole Miss. All right, So still got a couple of games left to do some prediction or some previews on for the season. I'm going to start going through the position groups here starting this week. So a lot of great content coming for you guys from the Auburn Express TV. Make sure you are tapped in because we got so much more locked and loaded for you guys. Mike G, tell the people how they can support all of the things.
You guys already know what to do, man. Sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month is it. The season is approaching. We've got lots of great patron-only content, but most of all, our game day experience. You want to be a part of this game day experience as a patron. Join the Green Name Gang. We limit a lot of our game day chats to patrons only. So, if you want to jump in the comments and be super negative, you're going to have to pay to do that during the season, because we try to keep it positive for our Green Name Gang here. This is a safe space on game day where you can come and express your frustration as a fan. But, we've got a lot of very respectful listeners from other fan bases, Ike, that are Green Name Gang and come in to just commune with us and talk ball. And we appreciate that as well, too. So it's a safe space for all fan bases, I think, as long as you keep it respectful. So join. These are like mini sponsorships of our channel. If you can't be a big-time corporate sponsor, $5.99 a month, man. Enough of you guys do this. There's no limit to the amount of content that we can bring you guys. I promise it's going to be a great season. We're looking at the best year we've had since we started the War Report. Do us a favor. Sign up on podcast. If you can't be a patron, if you can't do giveaway memberships, all we ask that you do is listen. So whether it's on YouTube or it's on audio, your listens help keep us going, man. Turn us on, turn us up, leave us on, set us on repeat. Just play us. And I promise you, and again, if enough of you guys do that, there's no limit to the amount of content that we can bring you guys. Also, visit thewarreport.com once a day. This is another great way to support our content. Every time you guys click on something, we get paid. So find us on social media, but head to thewarreport.com where you'll find our written work. And if you're looking for some Auburn gear for the season that is clever, and we do a lot of plays on words because of copyright reasons here, but Ike designs all this stuff, and I've never heard anybody say anything bad about anything they bought at our merch store. So visit thewarreport.com where you'll find our merch. We did a little bit of a rebrand, so there's a new War Report logo and some other great gear for you guys. If you were born to bug, you can do that with a Born to Bug t-shirt and some other things that we have. It also got backpacks and flags and all kinds of great stuff. Like, is there anything new on the merch store that folks need to know about?
Not yet, but stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We got about a month until the season starts, so we can't wait to get that stuff to you guys.
All right, and before y'all get out of here, make sure that if you haven't already, do the free things. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Cost you nothing to click that button to make that happen. Also, cost you nothing to share the content with somebody out there. Before you get out of here, please make sure you do all three of those things. Also, no charge whatsoever to follow us on X and Instagram. We're at The War Report. The TikTok is TW Report. Stay tapped in. We got so much more great Auburn Express TV content coming to you guys, powered by us here at The War Report. Until then, and as always, War Eagle. Peace.